2020 was on record the worst year a lot of us have known, and it's affected WWE's roster as WWE made cutbacks and released wrestlers across the board, which have affected their roster and WWE 2K22. But before we begin, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to keep up to date on all the latest WWE 2K22 news. It helps the channel massively. So here are 25 superstars that won't be in WWE 2K22. Akam and Reza. The Authors of Pain were a prominent tag team in WWE, teaming with Seth Rollins as part of his new Messiah gimmick, but after it was revealed Reza suffered a bicep injury on March 10th, both members were removed from TV. In September, both members were released by WWE, a massive shame as the two behemoths were a great addition to the now depleted tag team roster. CURT Hawkins. On the 15th of April 2020, Hawkins was released from his WWE contract as part of the budget cuts stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic. He hasn't been seen since the Elimination Chamber, and now he's open to work wherever he'd like. Jack Gallagher. Jack Gallagher was released as part of the Speaking Out movement after admitting to an offense back in 2014. Not very gentlemanly. EC3. EC3 was another release from the budget cuts, another massive loss to the roster as EC3 had a special something, but WWE just didn't know what to do with him, evidenced by his Control Your Narrative promos on social media. The top 1% shed his prior gimmick and is now much darker, appearing in Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling. Eric Young. After the disbandment of Sanity, Eric Young was left circling the drain. Creative couldn't find anything for the veteran to do, and he was subsequently released. He's headed back to TNA now, but it's another loss from a group that had potential when they were in NXT. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. The Club, the Good Brothers, another release from the wave of budget cuts, and they will be missed heavily from the game this year. Their presence boosted the tag team division, which is now massively suffering from a lack of any real tag teams. TNA managed to snag the two, with there also being a potential for them to work AEW and New Japan, but more recently they have turned up in AEW teaming with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Maria and Mike Kanellis. Maria and Mike Kanellis were released along with others as part of the budget cuts, which came as a massive blow to them. Mike and Maria hardly got a real shot on WWE TV, but they did get the joy of welcoming another member into their family. Mike has since returned to Ring of Honor. No Way Jose. No Way Jose is another casualty of the budget cuts. Since his release, he's undergone a complete makeover and doesn't look anything like his previous gimmick, though we haven't seen or heard of him on the indie scene since then. RUSEV. RUSEV's last appearance was on the February 17th show in 2020, another release from the budget cuts, but Lana stayed with WWE, while RUSEV likely welcomed the exit. Now going by his real name Miro, he's now part of the AEW roster and will highly likely be part of the AEW game being developed by Yuke's. Sarah Logan. On the April 13th edition of Raw, Sarah Logan was defeated by Shayna Baszler in a Women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. 2 days later, she was released by WWE as part of the budget cuts. But it's not all bad news. In July, she announced she was pregnant. Good luck, Sarah. Zack Ryder. A long-time veteran of WWE putting in 15 years with iconic moments and the ability to sell himself. Zack Ryder's release came at the same time as his tag partner, CURT Hawkins. Since then, he's appeared in AEW, but his limited time deal has expired. ZELINA VEGA. ZELINA VEGA was embroiled in an argument with WWE brass over the handling of how talent was spending their spare time streaming. Vega had done well establishing her Twitch channel, and on November 13, 2020, WWE announced that they had released Trinidad from her contract. That same day, Trinidad tweeted her support for unionization in professional wrestling in response to WWE trying to take control of all the Superstars' Twitch accounts. She was a playable character in WWE 2K20 and a manager in WWE 2K19. Curtis Axel. On the February 28, 2020 edition of SmackDown, Curtis Axel was defeated by Daniel Bryan in what would be his final appearance in WWE. On April 30th, he was released from WWE contract in a later set of sweeping releases due to budget cuts, ending his 13-year tenure with the company, though his tag team partner Bo Dallas remained with them. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, The Revival. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson last appeared in WWE 2K20, but on April the 10th, The Revival, now known as FTR, were granted their releases from WWE, 15 months after their request in January of 2019. They had a tell-all podcast interview in May and revealed that they'd been offered a new gimmick handmade by Vince McMahon that was less than flattering, and they'd also been given multiple title runs to try and appease them, but they said over and over they didn't want the titles, as, at that point, they were meaningless and the tag division was an afterthought. They've since joined AEW and will likely feature in the game being developed by HAWKINS. HARPER. The late great Brody Lee's last match in WWE was in 2019, a Battle Royale at the Crown Jewel event on October 31st, which he lost. He left that December and joined AEW, being revealed as the Exalted One, leader of the Dark Order. He won the AEW TNT Championship from Cody Rhodes. Brody Lee died on December 26, 2020, leaving a huge hole in the wrestling world. His kindness and compassion were evident in the way his peers spoke of him. Heath Slater. Heath Slater was another loss due to budget cuts. The one-man band had some great times in WWE, even coming back for a short stint to face Drew McIntyre. He's since reunited with his former tag team partner Rhino in TNA. ROWAN. ROWAN was released as part of the budget cuts along with a lot of other talent. The former member of the Wyatt family has since been appearing on the indie scene and appeared on the AEW Brody Lee tribute show holding a sign for his lost brother. Matt Hardy. On March 2nd, 2020, Matt Hardy announced his departure from WWE through his official YouTube channel, saying he's on different pages with WWE as he feels he needs to have creative input and still has a lot more to give. Later that day, WWE announced that his contract had expired. Since then, Matt has joined AEW and had some insane matches, showing a new side to his broken gimmick. I'll miss the random things that can happen with Matt in my career. Cassius Ohno. Cassius was quietly moved to the WWE alumni page on April 16th and later confirmed himself that he'd been released along with many others due to the budget cuts. He'd had a decent run in NXT UK, but he's now returning to the indie scene as Chris Hero. Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts appeared in AEW on March 11th and revealed he was the manager to Lance Archer, which confirmed that any Legends deal Jake had with the WWE was done. Kurt Angle. Recently reported, Kurt Angle's Legend deal had expired. Angle only made his comeback to the WWE 2K games for WWE 2K18 and appeared in the subsequent titles, but without a deal, it's not known whether Angle will sign a likeness deal directly with WWE 2K or if he'll appear in another game not associated with WWE. Sting. Sting recently debuted for AEW after letting his WWE Legends deal expire, seemingly mentoring fellow face paint wearing wrestler Darby Allin. Although seeing Sting back on screen is great, it's a shame to lose him from a WWE game. The icon in his current form wasn't present in WWE 2K20, only his crow gimmick and the 80s Surfer Sting. So there you have it, 25 superstars that won't be in WWE 2K22. Some of them legends that will be missed, but hopefully we'll have some great Creation Suite tools so our Creator Superstar community can bring them back in unofficially. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.